Hi, everyone. We're going to get started in just a couple minutes. Thank you for being here today. We're just going to give a couple minutes for a few more people to get a chance to join. In the meantime, enjoy this short video on our STEM program here at Salesian, and we'll be back in a minute.
Science guides people with navigation using technology in every aspect of society. To this end, the Salesian Science program is very strong, and our students engage in a variety of STEM courses to learn about a large breadth of science subjects. This year, we are augmenting our science course offerings by partnering with Project Lead the Way, a national organization that was launched 20 years ago. Students who participate in Project Lead the Way pathways outperform their peers in school, and they gain transportable skills such as problem solving, critical and creative thinking, collaboration, communication, and ethical reasoning. The Salesian class of 2024 will start the first course of a four-year track of classes in the biomedical sciences called the Principles of Biomedical Science. This summer, the city of San Pablo started restoration of Wildcat Creek. The city is constructing a 2,200-foot walkable path along the creek that gives access to the public for recreation and nature watching. Salesian College Preparatory and its environmental science class under the guidance of Dr. Elizabeth Kasha is very excited as we will be monitoring and collecting data from the creek to track animals, plants, and water quality in this local watershed. The data gathered will be used by the city and other government agencies to track the success of the restoration project with respect to flora, fauna, and water. This year, Pioneers in Engineering, PI for short, is a student-led outreach and mentor organization within the engineering department at the University of California, Berkeley. Salesian computer science students will participate in this, creating a variety of robots, computer programs, and other coding projects, which will be an exciting way for the students to reach out to the local community and participate with college students in a field that is very exciting for the future. Salesian College Preparatory, our student success is our #1 priority.
All right. Welcome, everyone. Hope you enjoyed that short video. Welcome to our Open House Series webinar. This is the first of 5 webinars in our Open House series, which will take place over 3 consecutive Sundays, today and next Sunday and the following Sunday. During this webinar, we will be discussing our STEM program. I'm coming to you live from Salesian, from one of our newly remodeled science classrooms. It's one of our beautiful new classrooms, and you'll hear a little bit about that today as well. My name is Bill Mellis. I am the PE department chair, and I'm also the boys varsity basketball coach. Just a quick little background. I grew up in Santa Cruz and then went to UC Berkeley out of high school. And ever since I graduated, I came to Salesian, and I've been at Salesian ever since. This is my 23rd year here at Salesian. And one of the things that I can say honestly about the school is it's been such a great atmosphere. The students here are superb. There's a great relationship between the students and the teachers. There's definitely a great relationship amongst the teachers. And it's one of the reasons that I and some of the other teachers have been here for so long. It's just really a great family atmosphere. We look forward to having you visit in person at some point. Sorry, we're still dealing with the pandemic, and of course have to come to you virtually today. Today, there's going to be, you'll be hearing from a handful of people. There'll be some faculty members. Mr. Chad Nightingale is our science department chair. You'll also be hearing from Dr. Elizabeth Kasha. She is our biology and environmental science teacher. You'll be hearing from Mr. Patrick Bender. He is our computer science teacher. And you'll be hearing from Ms. Christina McAfee. She is our department chair of mathematics. Also, we have some amazing students that are with us today. You'll be hearing from 4 students, Petra from the class of 2024, as well as Sarabjot, who's also a freshman in the class of 2024. You'll be hearing from Laith, who's in the class of 2022, and you'll be hearing from Dylan, who is a senior class of 2021. Also today, there's a few more people who you won't hear from, but I wanted to at least point out Miss Christina Carabinas. She is our Director of Admissions. She's kind of handling all of our tech stuff today and the PowerPoints and things of that nature. So you won't actually see her. You might see her picture come up on the side though. And then of course, Miss Mangle, Miss Rebecca Mangle is our Registrar and Admissions Coordinator. And these two are the ones who will be helping you through the admissions process throughout the entire journey with any of the help that you need in terms of applying and things of that nature. During today's webinar, you might have some questions, obviously. Feel free to type your questions to us. For those of you who are new to Zoom, the way that you can ask your questions is at the bottom of your Zoom screen. You can click on the Q&A button and you can type your question to us. We have a lot of people attending today, and that means there'll probably be a lot of questions. We are going to try our best to get to all of your questions. Okay, and so with that, we're going to have our first presenter. Our first presenter is Mr. Chad Nightingale. As I mentioned before, he is our Science Department Chair. He is also our Athletic Director, and he's a coach. He is the head coach of our track and field team, and he's also the head coach for our football team. And many of you might know that last year, our football team won its first ever state championship. And so congratulations to Mr. Nightingale. Today, he's going to talk about the STEM program and the curriculum, and I'm going to just go ahead and turn it over to him. So here is Mr. Nightingale.
Thanks, Mr. Mellis. I'm really happy to be here. Hello to everybody that's out there. It's great to be able to talk to you. It would be even better if we had the opportunity to meet face to face. And certainly I would encourage all of you to come visit the campus as soon as possible and see what we're all about. In the past 6 years, Salesian has really undergone some dramatic changes from the point of view of science and STEM, not only with the curricula that we are now implementing, but also just the upgrades with our buildings. As Mr. Mellis is mentioning, he's sitting in our brand new Chem Wet Lab, which was part of a 6-year project that was divided into 3 different phases. First phase saw us construct a brand new science prep room and a brand new biology lab. Second phase saw us build out the chemistry lab that Mr. Mellis is in now, as well as a lab for our sports medicine and our anatomy classes, and a computer science lab, plus a brand new elevator that connects all of our STEM classrooms with the rest of the main building. So that's, of course, on the building side. Very excitingly, however, when you look at what the kids are actually doing, the hands-on learning, our science and STEM curricula here at Salesian College Preparatory are really set by 3 entities. The first is the College Board. The College Board defines what is taught in our various AP courses, such as AP Biology, AP Chemistry, AP Computer Science, and AP Physics. Once a student successfully completes one of our AP classes, he or she can take a comprehensive exam at the end of the year to earn college credits in the particular discipline of the course. The second and very exciting new curriculum that has been brought to Salesian for the 2021 school year is that set by a group called Project Lead the Way, as you heard in our introductory video. We affectionately refer to it as PLTW. Students at Salesian that are interested in PLTW's biomedical science program, which is composed of 4 year-long courses, are challenged in various biomedical disciplines and technologies. The PLTW biomedical science program is as follows. In year 1, the students take the principles of biomedical science, which we call PBS. In year 2, they take human body systems, which we call HBS. The third year is medical interventions, which we abbreviate MI. And then finally, the 4th year is biomedical innovation, which we refer to as BI. PLTW biomedical science empowers our students to build knowledge and skills in biomedical science, as well as to build in-demand transportable skills like problem solving, critical and creative thinking, communication, and collaboration. And then finally, all of the other science and STEM curricula on our campus are taken from the next generation science standards. In general, in the freshman year, our kids can take the principles of biomedical science or the core principles of science. In the sophomore year, they take biology or AP biology. And then in the 11th and 12th grade, our kids have a wide variety of elective science courses to choose from that include chemistry, AP chemistry, sports medicine, anatomy, physics, AP physics, environmental science, and conceptual physics. One of the really nice things is that a student that is very interested in science, she can take more than one science class, and oftentimes you will see kids in the junior and senior year concurrently enrolled in something like anatomy as well as sports medicine. I feel very fortunate as a person who's been here now for 28 years, so probably one of the few people who's been around longer than Coach Mellis at Salesian College Preparatory. I work with extremely well-qualified people, two of whom who have PhDs teaching science, Dr. Kasha, whom you'll meet here very shortly, and Dr. Lydia Antonian, who teaches our physics and our chemistry, as well as having on board a certified athletic trainer named Liz Dar, who teaches our sports medicine and our human anatomy. And when we talk about Salesian curriculum and science and STEM, for us, hands-on curriculum is really what we're all about. And, it's a great example in sports medicine. So our kids learn to tape ankles, assess injuries, and perform physical therapy. So just in general, it's a very exciting time to be enrolled at Salesian, particularly in the sciences. And I think, one of the things for any incoming freshmen, I just want to point out that the PLTW course that the freshmen take, Principles of Biomedical Science, is something that starts the design and data analysis of outbreaks. It considers clinical empathy and health promotion. And our students enrolled in PBS explore the vast range of careers that are involved in biomedical sciences. I'm very fortunate right now to have two of my students who are in my PBS class that are here, and we'll give you an opportunity to hear from the kids exactly what it is that they learned. So Petra and Sarabjot, if you'd please just say hello and tell us a little bit about PBS.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Nightingale. Hello, my name is Sarabjot Kular, as I've already been introduced. And Principles of Biomedical Science, or as we call it, PBS, it's an all-encompassing course that has introduced me to scientific concepts that I will be able to apply to forensic investigations that simulate the real world.
And thanks and due to our teacher's superfluity of knowledge of a myriad of scientific branches and his charming self with his adorable Canella doggo, we have been able to acquire comprehensive understanding of subjects that will aid us in college and in potential scientific careers.
In our PBS class, we have learned how to analyze DNA using restriction enzymes, polymerase chain reaction, and gel electrophoresis.
We've also been able to determine how long a decedent has been deceased, or a deceased person, by implementing the Glaser equation and various forms of identification.
We've also learned how to see how the body systems function to work together in union to operate a body.
Alongside with that, we've been able to learn how to run presumptive and confirmatory tests, which are blood testing, such as the Kastle-Meyer test.
We've also learned how to identify fingerprints based on minutiae, which are parts of your fingerprint that make your print unique.
And analyze toxicology tests, which are essentially what the body or the person has took prior to their death, whether it be alcohol or any other substance.
And we've also been able to perform a histological examination, which is the examination of tissues, both on a microscopic level and by looking at organs.
And with a combination of our phones and technology, we've been able to piece together a timeline based on the digital evidence we find on the decedent.
Then, of course, before all of that analyzation can take place, we've learned how to analyze a crime scene.
Alongside with that, we've also been able to learn and how to use a polygraph test, and then use that to analyze the results of whether or not the person or suspect is lying.
And finally, we have been able to learn the parts of the heart and also how to dissect one.
Oh, yes, that was a fun day to learn about the heart. Back to you, Mr. Knighty.
All right, thanks a lot, Sarah, Joe, and Petra. It's great to hear from you. I think, for anybody interested in Salesian College Preparatory, our best ambassadors of what we're all about are our students. And I think these two young ladies represent us as well as any. So thank you very much, Sarah, Joe, and Petra.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Nightingale, and thank you, students. That was amazing. I didn't even know all the details that were going on in that class. It's pretty cool. So thank you for that. All right. Next, you're going to hear from Dr. Kasha. As I mentioned earlier, Dr. Kasha is our biology teacher, as well as she also teaches environmental science. And Dr. Kasha has two sons who both graduated from Salesian and both currently attend UCLA. That's a pretty smart family. So here's Dr. Kasha.
Thank you for the introduction. And I do want to echo that our students are amazing. I was just so impressed listening to the two of you share the information with everybody. And it is really exciting. And I hope that you're going to be in my biology class next year, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think you're going to be with Mr. Nightingale. So anyway, welcome everybody. And I do wish we were in person, but we're making the most of it. This is my 12th year teaching both biology and environmental science at Salesian. And I'm coming from a research background. I was at 12 years at UC Berkeley. And because of that, it's important for me to have this inquiry-based approach to teaching with the active learning strategies. I'm echoing again what Mr. Nightingale was talking about, where we have the hands-on learning in the classroom. And these activities basically involve students working with each other in designing and implementing controlled experiments. In the image that is in the center of the screen, students are demonstrating osmosis, diffusion of water across a cell membrane. Other active learning activities we have are making models out of Legos. And who doesn't like playing with Legos, right? But showing how to connect their knowledge of cell structure and function using something that they grew up with, those Lego toys. Another activity we had students exhibiting their knowledge of DNA structure by using candy, gummy bears and licorice sticks, toothpicks. And they were able to basically, again, illustrate their understanding in a creative manner. Another kind of trademark activity that I use in the classroom are illustrating images of concepts that are learned in the classroom through sketchbook designs. And in the upper left corner, you'll see an illustration in which a student has made a connection between an actual leaf and with the cellular process of photosynthesis. And in fact, photosynthesis is an experiment that our students are going to be working on this week. And they're going to be looking at an aspect of the rate of photosynthesis, looking at how light intensity, the amount of light, affects photosynthesis. This year, we are thrilled about our outdoor science lab. And thanks to a generous grant from the Contra Costa Wildlife and Fish Council, and also, as Mr. Nightingale mentioned in our video, the partnership with the City of San Pablo and the Wildcat Creek Restoration Project. As we mentioned earlier, Salesian environmental students will be monitoring that. It's about an 800-foot section of the creek that runs along Salesian's property. And that is what's being restored to a natural habitat, in addition to having the trails there. So what the grant has given us are these watering testing kits that the students can use, so we can look at the water quality. We can look at the aquatic microorganisms, and those are actually indicators of the health of the creek. And students will also be able to look at the organisms that we can see. We call those the macroorganisms, any mammals or birds that are in the area. And then another aspect of the project will be to monitor the growth of the native species that they're planting in the area. So this is just a tremendous opportunity, and one I've been really looking forward to ever since I started here at Salesian, to be able to utilize that creek that adjoins our property. Another important aspect, and which has been part of our environmental science curriculum, is basically stewardship, and in the form of cleanup and environmental science. Environmental science students have a monthly cleanup on campus, but what our responsibility will be with the creek is to clean that up as well, and have monthly outings in which we will be participating in doing that. And the other thing that I wanted to talk to and share with you guys about are the eco adventures that I've been a part of. And one of the joys of working at Salesian is the ability for all of our faculty and staff to basically share their passions with the students, not just in the classroom, but beyond. And anyone who knows me is aware of my love of the outdoors and the natural world. One of my activities on campus is to moderate a hiking club to encourage students to actively explore where we live in the Bay Area. That we have so many amazing parks and recreation areas to explore. So we have monthly outings, which offer students an opportunity to see the local flora and fauna, the plants and the animals, and to make changes, to observe seasonal changes, and just to appreciate the amazing geological diversity where we live, while having fun with their peers. And also, which I'm sure parents are happy to hear this, not only are they having fun, they're getting a good workout as well. So in addition to the hiking club, another activity that I've been involved in since 2014 was leading educational science-themed eco-adventures to places both within the United States, but also beyond into other countries, including Costa Rica, Iceland, Ecuador, New Zealand, Belize. And one of the goals of the educational travel is to connect concepts that we're teaching in the classroom in the science curriculum with natural wonders around the world. And I will admit, this has been a truly rewarding experience for me. When I was in high school, I had an opportunity to do international travel. I was an exchange student in Brazil, and that was a life-changing, unique experience for me. And to be able to offer this opportunity to our Salesian students is important to me. So some of the things that we've done is on the Galapagos Islands, we trekked around Charles Darwin's research station to see those famous giant tortoises and finches, which were integral to Charles Darwin's shaping of his theory of natural selection. We hiked in Iceland in a retreating Great Glacier, and that enlightened students on the effects of global warming. And we were able to learn about the importance of renewable energy by touring a geothermal power plant, and then just witnessing that energy by seeing these exploding and erupting geysers. We did that actually both in Iceland and in New Zealand. And of course, with these educational travels, we are encouraging global citizenship and having a great time. And as you know, one of our missions for Salesian is the aspect of the playground. And it's pretty cool, I think, that our playground has been able to include a tropical rainforest river in Costa Rica with class 4 rapids. Needless to say, we are looking forward to resuming our travel program in 2022. We had a trip planned to Vietnam and Thailand, which has actually been postponed to 2022. So I can share more information about that if anybody's interested. I'd now like to introduce Laith, who was actually last year's recipient of an Academic Excellence Award in Biology. Congratulations, Laith. And who is also this year's Hiking Club student leader.
Thank you, Dr. Kasha, and thank you for that intro. Hi, everyone. My name is Laith, and just to kind of bounce off what Dr. Kasha was saying about exploring science in like the actual world, the way I look at it, because science, especially biology, it's the study of life and like nature. And it's something that shouldn't just be read about in a textbook or like just taking notes from a book. It's something that's like meant to be seen and felt. And I think that our science program just does a great job of that. Like you guys saw like the little licorice like gummy worm DNA thing and the sketchbooks. It's just it makes it just very it makes it like you're learning and it's enjoyable to do at the same time. And I know firsthand that there's a lot of people in my class that I found like learn in very different ways, different than me, just different from each other. And so the fact that I'm able to take a class that's taught like not just by taking notes, but observation and experiment, and even like on the online platform, even over Zoom, you know, it's class discussions, like kitchen experiments, like hands-on stuff. It really means a lot, especially because like I never really considered like myself to have like much of an interest in scientific things. And but like after these classes, I'm really like want to learn more about it, keep learning about it in like future classes in college. And so I just like really like appreciate the opportunity to like learning these things and just finding a new interest that I love.
Thank you, Laith. It does remind me of last year when we were at the end of the year when we were looking where we did a squid dissection, and that was one of the home experiments, a squid dissection, which I followed up with a lesson on cooking calamari. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Dr. Kasha, and thank you, Laith. Next, you're going to hear from Mr. Patrick Bender. As I mentioned earlier, he is our computer science teacher. He is also an avid sailor, and he actually plans to start a sailing club here at Salesian once the pandemic has ended. So now here is Mr. Bender.
I might have to get my captain's license again before they let me take kids out on the bay. This is my second year at Salesian, and some of the best students and most dedicated faculty I've ever worked with in my career. I've been teaching computer science for the last 30 years and programming in computer science, mostly to adults. I helped train a lot of the .com programmers last century, and I've been an adjunct instructor at Holy Names University for the last 12 years, and I'm still teaching a couple spreadsheet classes up there. Currently at Salesian, I'm teaching 2 classes, AP Computer Science. Mostly AP Computer Science prepares the students for the AP Computer Science test. For that test, they have to do a research project, they have to program an application, and they also have to take a written test at the end of the year if we get through with this lockdown. I'm not allowed to help the students with a lot with the AP curriculum. So there's a lot of hands-on stuff that they do on their own, a lot of independent practice. Now we're using code.org for our curriculum for the AP class. Code.org is a nonprofit dedicated to getting more kids into computer science. They also run the annual Hour of Code campaign that you may or may not have heard of. Now, code.org has the philosophy that technology and computer programming and computer science is really a core principle like reading, writing, and arithmetic. Salesian has embraced this philosophy, and now all sophomores are required to take Intro to Computer Science. Currently in our intro computer science, we go over a lot of things, some basic applications, word processing, also some things on the internet, like doing a job search, creating a resume, using spreadsheets, creating a budget. So there's some things that practical things that they're going to use for the rest of their life. We also learn how to program on the web and create websites. One of the projects the students will do is create an online store. They figure out what they're going to sell, they put everything together, and they actually publish it. If they wanted to, they could take that project and move it into making their own real-time store. We do a lot of computer theory. We go over different numbering systems, the logic, the hardware and the internet and everything that makes the internet work. Currently in intro, we're doing game programming. We're learning about all the underlying principles that make video games work, like animation and collision detection. The kids seem to have a lot of fun with it. It's not as easy teaching online as it is in class, but it seems to be working so far. In computer science, we like to do a lot of cross-curricular things. Computer science is embedded in everywhere in life, so our current program we're working on as part of game programming is a little program that creates math functions. Now, a lot of my sophomores haven't seen some of these trigonometric functions, but it introduces to them, and they do make it work. And later on, when they see it in math, I think it's really going to make more sense. Next week, as part of, or actually 2 weeks from now, as part of the game programming curriculum, we're going to create a little game that includes gravity. So in physics, when they've already seen how gravity works kind of in computer programming, so when they run across it in physics, it'll make it a lot easier. Anyway, that's pretty much what we do. Oh, also, we participate in an annual robotics competition ran through Berkeley. It's called Pioneers in Engineering. And I'd like to introduce Dylan Chan, one of my star programming students who's been competing for the last 3 years, and he would like to talk a little bit more about the robot competition.
Thank you, Mr. Bender. Hi, everyone. Thank you all for coming today. As he said before, my name is Dylan. I'm a senior here at Salesian College Prep, and I'm just going to briefly talk about my experience with the Pi and robotics programs at Salesian. I've been part of the robotics club since my sophomore year, and this year I am also co-leader of the club. And as Mr. Bender said before, every year in the spring, we participate in the Pi competition, which is an annual robotics competition hosted by UC Berkeley's students and staff, where we just compete against dozens of other high schools around the Bay Area. And every year there is a different theme and objective with the competition, which I really like because it adds this sense of variety to the competition. And, it's not just the same thing being repeated over and over again every year. So for example, in my 9th grade, it was an egg themed competition I think it was called Solar Scramble. Sophomore year was a candy themed competition called Sugar Rush. And last year was sandwich themed called Munch Time. And each of those, as I said earlier, have their own, sort of rules and regulations and objectives. And if I'm going to be completely honest, these competitions really are the highlight of the second semester for me. Other than the fact that it's heck of fun, it really allows me to rapidly improve my skills in things like leadership, computer science, and engineering all in one go. Every year, we really have to come together as a team in order to strategize a plan and use that plan to design and hand build and program our robot. And in addition to that, we also get the opportunity to work on the UC Berkeley campus itself, which is really cool. And each school also gets to work with their own personal mentor, which is a UC Berkeley student. And the mentors kind of just guide us in the robot making and programming process. And with their help, we were actually able to win first place in the competition during my sophomore year, which quite frankly might be the pinnacle of my high school experience. Unfortunately, last year, the competition got canceled halfway through because of COVID, but hopefully this year, everything turns out well and we are able to compete again. So in essence, for any of you who are interested in robotics and programming, I highly recommend joining this if you decide to come here to Salesian. And yeah, that's everything from me. I think I'll pass it back on to Mr. Bender.
Thank you, Dylan. And we're passing it back to Mr. Mellis.
All right, thanks to both of you. I think everyone who's watching today can see how great our students are. So thank you for that. All right, next person you'll be hearing from is Ms. Tina McAfee. Ms. McAfee is our math department chair, and she is also a graduate of Salesian from the class of 2000. Here is Miss Mack.
Thank you. Yeah, I too have been, I feel at Salesian for a very long time, not only as a student, but at least teaching now for over a decade. So it's a great place to be. I'm just going to talk a little bit about what questions I usually get when we are able to be in person. And so, and you know, you'll be receiving a lot of this information again once you know, we're in that season of you know, trying to get, you know, the admissions information. So don't stress out. I'd like to open just a little bit with the course track that more of our students are following in that. Generally, they'll start with Algebra 1 as freshmen, followed by Geometry, then Algebra 2, and then Pre-Calculus. That's what the common track is. There are some students that need to sharpen their skills before taking Algebra 1. And so we have a pre-algebra available, and then they will follow that standard track and finish with Algebra 2 in their senior year. And then this is the part where I usually field a lot of questions. So a lot of students are learning Algebra 1 often in that 8th grade year, depending upon the school that they're at. So we do have an accelerated track for freshmen who enter with a large amount of Algebra 1. Aside from the recommendation from their 8th grade teacher, students must perform well on that high school placement test, as well as the math proficiency exam that we offer in May. And so we'll be sending that information out later on in the spring. Those who meet that criteria will take Accelerated Algebra 2, which is basically an Algebra 2 course for freshmen. We don't teach the trigonometry portion. That's often, you know, what juniors are seeing in Algebra 2. We'll be doing that when they take geometry with trigonometry their sophomore year. And then they're on track to take pre-calculus honors the junior year and end with AP calculus. So we try to do our best at meeting the range of skill sets that our students are coming in with. And for some students that, you know, want to get into that accelerated track, we encourage some summer classes so that they can take that pre-calculus honors or AP calculus as they're moving forward. One thing I also want to talk about too this year is a change in our curriculum. This year, our algebra, geometry, and algebra 2 classes have adopted McGraw-Hill's Reveal Math. And right now it's kind of interesting exploring a lot of the features, especially as we're remote. A lot of what we're doing is online. So we've encouraged the students to purchase the print and the online content. And so once we are back in the classroom, we'll still be doing the same thing, engaging with the book online and the book in their hands. So there's a couple pictures on the slide that you're seeing where there are a lot of nice features about this curriculum, in that being online, students can practice exercises, we can assign assessments, they can always go back and watch any videos that correspond to whatever that lesson happened to be, and going back through the lesson slideshows. A lot of the students are really liking the instant feedback that they're getting if they work through a problem and they get it wrong. Certain assignments will allow them to try again and maybe learn from those mistakes. And so I think a lot of the students are enjoying that component of it. On top of that, it's allowing for us teachers to also understand and track the students' mastery of their standards. And so, you know, what is it that maybe we need to go back and reinforce? Or, you know, we understand that the students get it and we can just keep moving forward. So the other last bit of the nice feature of Reveal is this Learn Smart assignments that the students will be working through. And I've assigned a couple so far this year. And the nice thing about it is it's exploring this idea of confidence in students' metacognition. And confidence in math is something that us math teachers, we really try to help students grow a better confidence in their abilities. And So it's interesting to look at how students, when they work through a problem, have to decide that they know it, or they think they know it, or they don't really know it. And you're getting a good gauge as to how they feel about their thinking. So I'm going to ask students as the year goes on, to really reflect on what they're seeing, and hopefully we're seeing improvements as time goes forward. But we work really hard as the math department to be there for our students. And so we try our best to offer any help that we can in class. And so we just want to make sure that all of our students are getting what they need. And so for that senior year, our upperclassmen, along with how our freshmen setup is, our upperclassmen have a wide range of classes that they can take: introduction to college math, pre-calculus, pre-calculus honors, and AP calculus, just depending upon what their interests are and what they're looking to do in college. So once again, on behalf of the math department, I'd just like to thank you for taking the time out on this Sunday. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ms. McAfee. As I mentioned earlier, people have had a chance to type in some questions, and we're going to have a quick question and answer session. We're running short on time, so we really only have probably time for one question, so maybe two. But the first question is for Mr. Nightingale. This question came in. Who is eligible to take Principles of Biomedical Science, and who is eligible to take AP Bio?
Great question. Thanks, Bill. For PBS, for the Principles of Biomedical Science, we use two criteria. The first one is the HSPT. So what is your high school placement test exam score? And the other one then is the GPA for those students coming out of their 8th grade middle school. For advanced placement biology, what we do is we have a selection committee comprised of myself, our vice principal, as well as our guidance counselor, Mr. Jack Stevens. And we look at all of the freshmen, what their GPAs are, particularly in math. And then we invite the top 35 students to participate in advanced placement biology. And then from there, those kids are screened.
All right. Thank you for that. We'll have one other real quick question for, this one's for Ms. McAfee. Ms. Mack, the question is, how are students getting one-on-one help with math during online learning?
So we, all the math teachers, we are available after school, at least until about maybe, sometimes we'll stay till 4, but at least till 3:30. And we try to encourage a lot of our students to come and work together, but also, bring questions to us. As we're remote, same thing. We have office hours where we meet on Zoom, and a student can share their screen with me or everyone that's attending, and we collectively can all work together on that problem. We can discuss. So students are still able to get a bit of that one-on-one help that they would often get at school.
Thanks, Ms. Mack. There were a handful of questions that came in today. Unfortunately, we're running short on time and we couldn't get to all of them. If your questions were not answered, or if you have questions that come up later on, please feel free to email any of the presenters from today's webinar or our admissions team. You can see all their email addresses there, and those email addresses, of course, can also be found on our school website at salesian.com. This is going to bring us to the end of our open house series webinar for STEM. I really want to thank you for joining us this afternoon. Just so you know, today's webinar will also be available to view again later this week on our school website, which is salesian.com, under the admissions section. Please join us for our next open house series webinar, which will begin actually shortly today at 2 p.m. In that webinar, we'll be focusing on our programs in English, social sciences, and world languages. Please note that there is a different Zoom link for that webinar, and you should have received a reminder email earlier this morning with that link. And then next week on Sunday, the 25th of October at 1 p.m., We will continue when we focus on our visual and performing arts program. And then on November 1st, we have 2 more open house series webinars. That'll conclude it when we talk about campus ministry, retreats, service and leadership, and the second one on athletics and our co-curricular activities. We hope that you'll be able to join us for all of these future webinars, and want to thank you again for joining us today. We hope that you enjoyed our amazing presentation, hearing from the teachers and the students today. And we hope to see you again very soon. Take care and have a great rest of your day.